Thanks, listeners, for joining us on our Tuesday edition of Elko Live here on KELK. It is always a pleasure to welcome our Elko City Planner in studio today. Cathy Laughlin is here, and we have an exciting agenda of items to talk about. There's a lot to look forward to here in the city, Cathy.
Yeah, thank you, Lori, for having me.
It's always great to catch up on these projects, including, and really most of it is just about reinvesting in the community and helping our local businesses, our small businesses. One of the big issues that we're looking forward to is getting this sidewalk project done, right, Cathy?
We sure are. So we went out to bid last year and we weren't able to do the project. So we are currently out to bid right now, and it will include sidewalks, street development, infrastructure, water line services, sewer lines, some storm drainage, all of that, as well as landscaping and lighting and landscaping along the 400 block of the corridor on both railroad and commercial, and then the commercial side of the 500 block. So it's really 3 lengths of sidewalk there, but because of changing that sidewalk profile, we have to build the street up as well. So it's a reconstruction of the entire street. But this will be providing some additional shade in the downtown area, some greenery, some lighting at each of the trees, so we'll be able to add Christmas lights like we do down Idaho Street. And it just is going to be a much better, safer situation. Right now, the sidewalk in front of Henderson Bank Building is not ideal. So this will lower that. There are going to be some challenges with all of this. With the design, we had to finish floor elevation survey each of the buildings. And so the sidewalk kind of has to go up and down, right? Just to match all of those finished floor elevations so that we can meet ADA accessibility into each of the buildings. And similar to what Glennon and Sandoval did recently with theirs, they have one step up with a little rail and a little side ramp to meet ADA accessibility. We'll be doing the same thing on 2 of the other properties, one being Goldie's and then a property on the 500 block that's owned by Petray Assets. So it's going to be a long process. We understand it's going to have an impact to the neighbors, the property owners, and business owners down in that downtown area. But we're hoping to be as open and transparent as we can. I'd like to have as much open communication with those business owners throughout the whole project. We're hoping that the bids come in bids are due on the 24th of this month. We hope that they are going to come in much better than they did last year. We only received 1 bid last year. And at that time, there was a lot of infrastructure funding from the federal government that was out in play in our community. And I think that we just didn't get the contractors interested in it. So hopefully that will be different this year, and we'll get multiple bids and be able to see where we're at. We're looking at, it's over $2 million project. For the downtown. And with the redevelopment area, unfortunately, it takes us years to build up enough tax increment funding to do a project. And this just happens to be the next project, which is Project 4 of our Phase 1. And we have made change in our redevelopment area with Project Phase 1, right? So everything from the Centennial Tower, we closed off 7th Street, we undergrounded all of that utility work, so the power lines were removed, and then we expanded the park into the 7th Street. And then the third project was our Block End project. So that's adding that landscaping and those art components there on the 4th Street and 6th Street. So this is just moving into the next project. Unfortunately, it has taken us a few years to build up enough funding to do a $2 million project like this, but it will be well worth it. And I promise the property owners and the business owners down there, just be patient with us. It will be well worth it.
Cathy Laughlin is our city planner, and again, what she's describing is this big downtown revitalization that's continued in phases. And what you were describing too, Cathy, and it's not just the concrete work, which is extensive, but once you start opening up some of these areas, and we're talking about infrastructure that's maybe been in place, since the 1900s?
Oh, yes. Yeah, and the water lines, we're bringing in water meters into these buildings as well, so taking advantage of that opportunity as well. But the water lines, are they in good shape? Are they not? So we are bringing in the 500 block. They're getting all new water services into their buildings. With meters.
And that should really help to enhance business prospects, because some of those historic buildings, as much as we love them, they've also limited the ability to expand a business or diversify.
That sure is true. Mm-hmm. Plus, we really need some landscaping in the area. It has changed the perspective when we had the little bit of green grass on the 4th Street and 6th Street and a little bit on 5th. But this will also add to that, having the block ends on each of the ends of the streets. Those will be projected out. The sidewalk will be projected out, and that provides for pedestrian safety. So a pedestrian, if they're going to cross that crosswalk on railroad or commercial, they're more out in the traffic lane before they step off the curb. So that's really protecting the pedestrians and providing a little bit of a safety barrier for the on-street parking there on those streets. But then there will be some shade and some trees, and these bulb out areas give us an opportunity to put some plant material there and some additional trees. So it's going to be great.
Oh, it will be beautiful, and all we have to do is look to some of those other blocks that have already received these type of enhancements, Cathy, to see that, and to hear from the business and property owners downtown who've also appreciated this investment. And it's important to note that it is an investment on behalf of those property owners. As you mentioned, it's an improvement district. And so the money's there. It's paid for. We don't bond this. We're not asking for the property owners for additional money.
Correct. And this isn't the redevelopment area is not a tax. It is not in addition to any of what their property taxes that they are paying right now. What it is when we created the redevelopment area in 2008, they allocated a portion of any growth that we have. So, of course, our district has grown since 2008, and our tax base is a lot higher. So we get a portion of that, just a small percentage of that. Now, one thing we are excited about is the new Sandvik facility is in the redevelopment area. There's also some additional industrial buildings that are being planned in that area as well. And this is all going to be in the redevelopment area. So the tax base for our entire district is, of course, going to increase by that value, which will give us more tax revenue.
And, of course, that means more planning, right, Cathy? More good, careful planning. And how do you go about the planning, would you say? Do you get input from the local property owners, or?
We do, but what we did was when we created this redevelopment area and we hired a consultant to do the corridor plan, the downtown corridor plan, they gave us a 30% drawing set. And we've been working off of that 30% drawing set and implementing project after project. At that time, the agency really set Phase 1 and Phase 2 and prioritize the projects within those phases. But we also have to show that we're going to have enough funding to make those projects happen. So we looked at the tax increment. We looked at a 3% and a 5% growth in our tax increment, and where we could go with the estimates, the engineers' estimates at that time. Unfortunately, those engineers' estimates are way outdated. There's no way we could do any of those projects for what they told us the cost would be. We're a lot higher in cost than what that was. So it just takes us some time, but the agency has taken action to create that phasing and prioritize the projects. So this is just the next project. And once this is complete, then we'll build up the tax revenue again into maybe 3-4 years and down the road, and then we'll be doing the next project after that. So it just, unfortunately, it takes time.
Well, you have certainly been at the helm of these projects, Cathy, and I hope people can understand and appreciate, what goes into this and the patience that you mentioned, because the sidewalk project itself would be a memory right now, except that the bids just didn't come in last year, and you explained that. So hopefully on March 24th, those bids will come in, and if you anticipate, how soon might we start the sidewalk project?
We're anticipating, if the bids come in good, that on April 8th, the RDA will approve that and award the project. And we're anticipating about May 15th, a start date. It is a 4 to 5 month project because of the paving and sidewalks and all of the utility work. So we're hoping that, by September 15th or so, we will be completed with the project. Now, we are going to make it every effort possible to make sure that no businesses are shut down for any length of time. They may have a plywood sidewalk going into their business for a temporary period of time while we're doing the sidewalk, but we are hoping that we will not have any closures on those businesses. Some of the businesses do have access from the alley side, and they can utilize that if we do have to close for one day. But we're going to try our very best to work around their schedule and not have any closures.
And Cathy, you do have some heavy lifting coming your way from the Elko Area Chamber of Commerce. We're hearing great things from Billy Crapo about already in planning meetings with you.
We are. We're excited that we get that opportunity. We had a good working relationship with the DBA as well. And Billy is phenomenal. She's a great asset for our community. So one of the things that we did just approve is the Christmas lights that we have in the trees down in the downtown along Idaho Street. They were done in 2022, and the trees have grown significantly. So the lights were just starting to choke off the tree's growth a little bit. So we did do a partnership with the chamber to have those lights removed off the trees and then restrung on the trees. So they will be starting that here soon as well. And we work together, the RDA with the chamber on projects like this, or the DBA previously. And it's a great partnership that we have. So I look forward to doing many more projects like that.
And I think the Elko community should be aware that we're fortunate to have such an active Parks and Recreation Department. I think the very day after that City Council meeting, Cathy, where some of these approvals were made, I saw folks already out pruning trees, and I think they were looking at those lights so that they could either cut them loose and get ready for new ones. But we have a really active city departments that work together.
We sure do. Yep.
So that's part of the project moving forward. Again, we'll keep you posted on the timeline. Again, if those bids come in, that's going to be the most important thing. And that leads us into the next discussion, too, which is preparing for more downtown art, because we have seen the booths have been a success, and certainly the murals. And now there's more conversation going on, again, with the chamber and other participants about some more public art.
Yeah, so we had the redevelopment agency did approve up to $10,000 for the Sesquicentennial Art Project that the Arts and Culture Committee is now currently working on. So they just were lacking a budget and a call for artists at this point. So they do have a meeting this Wednesday, and they will be discussing that Sesquicentennial project. And now that they know that they have at least $10,000 from the redevelopment agency, and they can focus on putting together a budget and a call for artists to put some artwork together. So we're looking at it could be a sculpture, a metal sculpture of some sort, or some type of durable outdoor material. And they're planning on putting that on the east side of 6th Street in the downtown corridor. So right now we have a half circle concrete slab there that was part of our Block N project. And the artwork will be installed in that area. And it will leave enough area that we can potentially put a bench around there so people can sit down and enjoy the art. And we have 3 other locations after that we can certainly move forward and try to fill as well, just to provide a little bit more downtown art.
Yeah, it certainly is popular, and it does tend to attract tourists and create those, I think they call them selfie moments,
Correct.
Yeah, where people can gather downtown and then stretch their legs, and then before they know it, they're staying and spending some money locally, which is nice.
It's exactly what we want.
Yes. So the Arts and Culture Advisory Board meeting is tomorrow, as Cathy mentioned, Wednesday, March 5th at 4:30 in the council chambers. They have an exciting agenda, so anybody who's interested is invited to just drop in that meeting, Cathy. I know you'll be there along with some city staff and just hear how this dynamic board of just interested citizens, what their vision is for the future for art.
Yeah, and they also are going to be deciding on the Mayor Arts Awards tomorrow. So they did receive a few nominations for those. And if they have not filled all 4 categories, they will be nominating others themselves and hopefully selecting the Mayor Arts Awards recipients tomorrow.
Well, that's great news. And again, something else to look forward to. And it's nice to have a budget for that, Cathy, to have at least the $10,000. We have some beautiful sculpture and, again, local original art that's been created by the local art community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. A good example is the sagebrush across the street here.
Yes, there are a couple of mountain bluebirds tucked in there if you haven't walked over lately. And we have a time capsule in there too. Do you remember that?
I do.
That is so cool. And I think we may have sage grouse too in that. But it's a wonderful reflection of why home means Nevada for us.
Correct.
So Susan Glazer Church was the artist on that project too, by the way. So, and she's also done the metal sculpture that I believe still adorns the outside of our Elko County Library. So,
yep,
yeah,
for sure.
She's a beloved artist. So if we're just putting a hint out there that, but there'll be a call for all artists, as you mentioned.
There will be. They're working on that now. And we have until 2026 to get it done and get it installed. So
yes, it is a sesquicentennial. Yeah, so good. Thank you, Cathy. Appreciate the update on that. And something else that I know that the community is working on, I'm just checking over all my notes. We do know the city approved a feasibility study for a city hall, and I would think you're probably interested in that.
Yes, I have been helping with that a little bit. I helped Jan put together the RFQ, and then we did some interviews of the architects on that, and we are now assisting them on giving them some information that they need from us based on our existing situations, so office sizes, conference room sizes, and such. And this is an exciting it's an exciting time for the City of Elko because we have given them 4 different locations for them to study, and they'll come back with a recommendation to City Council on where they think the next City Hall should be, which is an exciting thing, right? We unfortunately right now, I do not believe that we are as efficient as we could be when we are in different buildings. And even with technology and you're teamsing people or such, it's not the same when you have somebody right across the hall from you and you can discuss the building department concerns or a project in the future with someone that's right there, or something you might have with the business licensing or finance. So it will be way more efficient for the city to be all in one building. The modulars are fine, but it will be way more efficient. And we have selected a great architect firm for that, and we look forward to this relationship and see where it comes.
Well, that's exciting, Cathy, to have the 4 different locations. I think in early discussions, the existing City Hall site is in the mix.
It is.
Right. So, replacing those modulars. And I think you'll appreciate, the existing City Hall. That's an Arnie Perhonen building, and that's something we can be proud of locally, right, Cathy?
Exactly.
For listeners' benefit, Cathy's a trained architect, so we have the benefit of that.
Well, and we looked at, when we picked those 4 sites, we picked 2 that we don't own that we would have to purchase, and then 2 that we do own. So it's kind of given us a mixture there, right? So it will be interesting to see what Lombard Conrad comes back with and what they recommend we build our next City Hall. And then, of course, then there's going to be the funding. So this may be hopefully I'm still at the city when this happens, because I'd love to see a new city hall, but it may take us many, many years to get this done.
It's true. And again, but planning is key. And we have seen the City of Elko, meaning all of us residents, taxpayers, business owners, we're successful because we have good planning, Cathy. That's all there is to it.
We do. We have really good long-term planning. We have short-term planning, but it's really important when you look at just the growth of the community and how we want to grow and what we can, because you have to look at natural resources such as water, and you have to look at infrastructure and if we have the water resources for water rights for the water, can we get water lines to that location? Can we sewer these properties out? Can we develop any of these properties? So we really look at all of that in our long-term planning, and it's really important.
Cathy Laughlin is our guest as we're talking. We're just getting right through this half an hour, but there's so many exciting aspects, so many great things to talk about. And as you said, the planning that goes on, the water and sewer, that's another department that's really important and key to the future growth. We've seen growth enabled in places like Exit 298 alongside Interstate 80, North 5th Street, the Cattle Drive area. There's still some really great prospects for growth. And as you mentioned, along that Manzanita Drive connector, 1401, is that where the police station is? I can't remember the address, but it's right there on Silver Street. Silver, mm-hmm. Yes. 1401 might be the old address.
Yeah. Waters Court.
Yes, Waters Court. So that's, again, these are all exciting aspects of where the city can continue to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that people see the Pinion Road extension to Ericart Boulevard and that Ericart Boulevard being graded out, people are really excited. People can actually see, wow, this is property right here that we could put a subdivision. We could extend this commercial corridor up through Ericart and have some commercial uses along that roadway as well. And it does open it up, and when people can actually visualize it, because it's done now, partially done, but the grading is there. They can actually visualize that Pinion Road tying into Ericart and what that would open up for development. So I've had some of those property owners coming in talking to us, and some properties that are for sale over there, and hopefully that will spur some development.
That's great, Cathy. And I know you can't divulge or discuss everything because a lot of it is proprietary when someone is considering doing a project. I don't know. I guess I meant to revisit that. Are the City Hall locations, are they public yet, or is it still part of your planning? They're
not public yet, but they will be soon, as soon as the architect comes to City Council.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm. We always look forward to those presentations because it tells us more about where we're going to grow, whether it's North 5th Street, in the vicinity of our new Veterans Cemetery that's coming right along. So.
Yeah, that is going very well.
Mm-hmm. Cathy Laughlin works very closely as our city planner with the city planning department, and those are volunteers who sit on the planning commission. We should mention there won't be a planning commission meeting, though, tonight.
Tonight, no, there is no agenda items on that agenda, so I think in the 9 years that I've been the city planner, I think that it has happened maybe once or twice that we have canceled a meeting. It does not happen very often. So, unfortunately, we do not have anything on that agenda, so we went ahead and canceled the meeting.
It might be the lull before the storm, don't you think?
It certainly could be. Yeah. It certainly could be. Usually this spring, it usually picks up when, land entitlements for different projects that plan on taking place over the summer. So we're hoping that some things will be coming in, and we still see some traction from subdivisions. They're all the time. We're having discussion about subdivisions and the next phase of what we're going to do. So I think we will have some future planning commission meetings that will be pretty big agendas, I'm hoping.
They'll make up for any lull in the activity. Yes. So now we'll steer back downtown just so that we make sure we get this in today, because there are opportunities for people to invest in and get matching money for their properties in both infrastructure and storefront improvement grants.
Yeah, we are so excited. We love these two grant programs. So the storefront grant program is currently open, and we're accepting those grant applications through March 31st. is a little bit of detail that is required for that program. We want to know what is happening on the outside of the building, but you also need to have 3 contractor bids submitted with that. So get busy now if you want to have your storefront as part of the Storefront Grant Program. It is a matching grant up to $25,000. So for a $50,000 storefront project, you're only paying 50% of that, $25,000. That's a nice incentive there to get that project going. So that is open through the end of March. The infrastructure grant program just closed the end of January for the first, it's really the second cycle of this fiscal year. Our next cycle will open July 1st through July 31st. And that infrastructure grant program is up to $15,000, and it can go towards anything that your building doesn't meet for ADA accessibility. Maybe it needs a new water line upgrade. Maybe it needs fire sprinklers. Anything that would be required for the inside of the building to bring it up to current codes. And that is only eligible for buildings which have sat vacant for over 12 months or that have had a change of use. So a change of use being maybe they were previously mercantile and they want to go to an office building, or they were an office building, they want to go to a restaurant or something of that nature. That would be considered a change of use. So a good example of that, we just awarded a grant of up to $15,000 to the Rancho Shopping Center for 2 of their units there for ADA restrooms, and 1 door widening for 1 of the units. And so now once they get that done, they'll be able to get those units leased out and hopefully bring more businesses to our downtown area.
And that's what it's all about, is enhancing the business opportunity for the local community, whether it's the infrastructure, the interior that Cathy was describing, the storefront grant, which we've seen so many improvements that have really revitalized our downtown area.
They really have. I love using the example of Glennon and Sandoval. I think that they did a phenomenal job on their building. And if you look at the before and after pictures, you're just like, wow, I don't even remember the before. It looked, it was not an attractive building, right? And the underground and Ruby's and Jason Land's building, there has just been some phenomenal investment in our downtown in the storefront program. And what we hope is that it will spur development throughout that block, right? So the 500 block of Commercial Street really has seen some changes, all the way from Capriola's all the way down the end of the block, and you've seen a lot of them take advantage of that storefront grant program. So we're hoping that does the same thing on the 400 block, and it just kind of spurs one property owner after the other to do the same thing. So it's starting.
It's starting. Sounds like we've come full circle, Cathy. Again, once we get these bids on March 24th for the sidewalk project, the Downtown Revitalization, so that can continue. Again, just enhancing people's confidence in our local community and economy and shopping and entertainment, dining. There are so many reasons to go and support our local businesses, Cathy.
There really is.
Yeah.
We have a good one.
Have we gone over most of the topics you were hoping to today?
I think so.
Well, you did a great job as always. Thank you. Please come back as often as you like, and especially as we launch this sidewalk project, and we'll keep everybody informed as we can.
Yes, and if anyone has not reached out and given me their email address, or they were not at the stakeholder meeting that we held last year, please have them reach out to me at the City Planning Department and give me their email address, and we'll add them to the list, because we do want to keep the property owners and the business owners informed. So as I work with that contractor and we have the weekly updates on what they're going to be doing that week, we can certainly reach out via email. I don't have time to call every property owner or business owner, but I can certainly send out an email, say this week we're working on the sidewalks on this part, or we're working on the water lines, and you may have a short disruption. Or so we would certainly want to keep that line of communication open as possible. And without having those email addresses, I can't do that. So have them reach out to me.
City Planner Cathy Laughlin, elkocity.com. You can get all the information you need, and we'll get this party started, right?
Yes, I'm
All right.
excited.
Thank you, Cathy, for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lori.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today here on KELK.